over a few housekeeping rules and then we can just get started. So good evening, everyone. I just wanted to note that everyone that has joined will be put on mute during the presentation portions. Once presentations are over and we move to the question and answer, we would love to hear from you. So at the bottom of your screen, there is a reactions button where you can click the raise hand feature, which we will be monitoring. So we will call out the names of people with their hands raised and allow them to unmute themselves so they can ask their questions. If you would also like to just put your question in the chat, you can do that too. Dr. Erin Brown, our Director of Family and Community Engagement, is here. So she will be reading some of those out loud to be answered. And thank you all for being here, and we can go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for joining this beautiful call today. Community conversation, that name right there is so crucial, you know, to uplift our community, uplift each other. We have to have these dark and deep conversations. We have to. And I just want to say, before I introduce myself, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of our teachers, principals, students, parents, community leaders, and all of our community partners, such as Parks and Rec, Gridiron, and all of our other partners that may have joined this call today. I just want to give a huge shout out to say thank you for joining this call today. My name is Cory Stuckey, and I am a senior at Georgia High School. And I am also a recent commit to the esteemed Morehouse College. I am also an advocate and an activist for my community and my peers. And I will be moderating this conversation today on behalf of RPS student population. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this deep conversation. Now, before we dive into the conversation, I do want to give the time for Ms. Dawn Page and Ms. Nicole Jones to also start off with a brief remarks as this conversation begins.
Okay. Thank you, Cory. And I would like to welcome everyone who have joined this call this evening. Nicole and I, Ms. Jones, the 9th District School Board representative, we are truly excited about this work that we're going to do for the South Side and as representatives on the school board. But also I want to recognize our city councilwoman, Ms. Reva Trammell. Hopefully she has joined us tonight as well. But again, I would like to welcome everyone and thank you for taking time out tonight for this important conversation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are super excited for this conversation. I'd like to also give a shout out to my councilman, Mr. Mike Jones. We often work together and collaborate on really trying to edify, amplify, and really activate the 9th District. But I want to give a special shout out to Ms. Page for just being a great leader. I'm new to the seat. She's kind of taken on a mentorship role, and that's important. She's been schooling me on how to really lean into my role as a school board member and what it is that we do. And I've, on the other side, been really working to kind of get her to step out of, her zone a little bit more, and let's do this community thing. I love community. I'm all about community. And what we want to do tonight is really, really hear from you all, hear your concerns, and really work towards building a 8th and a 9th district, South Side. I don't want to say takeover, but we'll back to Cory. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this beautiful evening. You could be someplace else, get in air, but you're with us, so we appreciate you.
Thank you, thank you. I really love something that you said, Ms. Jones. You know, you said that Ms. Page that took on a mentorship role with you, and I really love that concept. You know, of seeing that someone that has been here and done that has taken you under their wing to uplift you, to give you some guidance, give you some structure, help you out with things that you may not possibly know. And that's one of the biggest things that we need to do in our community as well. Keep our community connected, keep our peers connected, and our loved ones connected, keep uplifting each other. And that draws in right into the conversation today with community building. And that was one of our main focus that we want to do with the community. Being a co-founder and a CEO of a community-focused organization, I see the importance of unity. 2020 was a huge twist on the structure of life, but I'm grateful for it. And I say that because it opened my eyes to seeing all the changes and seeing all the things that we really need to see within our community. And of course, it opened all of your eyes as well. That's why you're on this call today. And as an RPS student, I see all the beautiful possibilities that our school and our districts can have. And that's why it's so important that community building is one of our main focuses, making sure that we can really change the 9th and 8th district and all the districts, make sure that we can change all of our schools and all of the people within it as well. And to further explain this topic, I'm gonna have Ms. Nicole Jones jump on.
Community building. So some of the things that Ms. Page and I have been talking about and just receiving feedback from some of our constituents in the South Side is just that, you know, a lot of you feel left out. And so we are doing all that we can to make sure that that narrative begins to change. What we want to do is really hone in and work with the communities, the families, the students, and just what does that community building look like, right? What does that mean? As far as it, and as it relates to RPS, you know, partnering with RPS and the things that the administration already has going on. You know, parents are the school's primary stakeholders. And so how do we be able to connect with you on a deeper level? We understand, you know, that there are things that a lot of concerns and a lot of, you know, issues with not feeling heard. But that's what we're here to do today, to kind of like, this won't be this will be the first of many, excuse me, this will be the first of many conversations, you know, connecting, getting to know one another. But tonight, what we really want to do is like set the stage for some trust building and really begin to you know, set this exchange, you know, this exchange of information, this exchange of questions, concerns, support, solutions, and then how do we begin to move forward as a district, not just a South Side district or a North Side district, but a district that serves 25,000 students. And what we, you know, are looking to do is to like respond to the hopes and needs of our young people. We gotta let our young people set the stage so that we can understand what it is that they need. This is why we invited Cory. He's an 8th district resident, you know, George Wythe Senior. So we know, as he mentioned, the possibilities that exist within our students in RPS. But we also know the challenges that exist in the South Side. And so what we want you all to know is that we're here. We want to listen. We want to be able to create a climate of change. And we appreciate the you know, the administration, the superintendent. We are grateful for your support for even helping us get through setting this up tonight. I mean, and so this is just the beginning. And so I'll throw it over to my colleague, Ms. Page. She'll share a little bit about what we want to do and see as it relates to from the school board side.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Yes, so the information that you shared is very, very critical, but also I want to talk about the role as a school board member, because oftentimes we really don't understand, or people don't understand the role of a school board member, but we are truly advocates. We are advocates for our students, advocates for our families, to ensure that the resources, the policies, that decisions that we make are truly positively impact our children. So as you all know, serving as a school board chair for many years and the longest serving board member, I've accomplished a lot, but those accomplishments were achieved through collaboration and commitment for the betterment of our students and our families. So the school board serves as the governing body of the school division. And some of our responsibilities include development and approval of a division policy. So we're the policy makers. Hiring and evaluating the division superintendent cameras, thank you. But also the approval and adoption of the school division's budget, and the school board is expected to work with the division superintendent in the formulation and achievement of the school system's goal, which is Dreams for RPS. That is our footprint. That is our guiding principle in driving this school division and moving us forward. So Dreams for RPS. But the working relationship between the school board and the superintendent sets the tone. It sets the tone for the school division. It sets the tone and the culture for building relationships. So, and also the relationship between the school board and the superintendent can influence the civic, our businesses, and the political perceptions in the city of Richmond. So I want to end by saying, so my colleague, Ms. Jones, and I will be collaborating for a better and stronger South Side for our students. So I'm going to give it back over to Cory and let him guide us through the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, thank you. Oh my God, that was amazing. That just gave me some chills. I don't know if anybody else is feeling chills over the phone, but it just gave me some chills. And I say that because, you know, just thinking about it, you know, I'm young, so I can't say back in the days, but back in the days doing research and doing research, you can see that, you know, the community was built off of strongholds. You know, that's churches, schools, fraternities, you know, school board representatives, just local representatives. That's what the community was built off of. You know, for years, and the community has been straying away from their strongholds. But just to see that our strongholds are starting to connect again, the 8th, the 9th district, our school board representatives, our superintendent, you know, just local leaders, just local business, just to see that our strongholds are starting to connect again is real beautiful. It just gave me some chills, you know. I love talking about strongholds. I love talking about communities. So just seeing that, you know, that our community is literally starting to do it right now in front of our eyes is something truly to pay attention to. And also, along with community building, there are several community resources that I believe is crucial for you all to know about. And gratefully, right now, because I can't speak about it, but I'm grateful that we have Ms. Erin Brown right now to basically, and she's the director of family and community engagement from the Office of Engagement to speak to us about it. You know, to basically give us more of a little insight about it. So now I'm gonna pass it over to Ms. Erin Brown to speak to you more about the resources that we have in our community.
Well, thank you for that welcome. And thank you, Ms. Page and Ms. Jones, for having this for our community. We are so excited to share what the Office of Engagement has been doing. And our leader, our Chief Engagement Officer, Dr. Sade Harris, is here with Blue. And I want to tell you all that she birthed an actual child, but one of the things she also birthed this year was our community hubs. And so when she's been here, really seeing how can we engage our families, how can we help them be connected, how can we get them access to resources. This idea that she had about having regional hubs came to fruition this September. And we didn't start the way we hoped because we are virtual. But I think the important thing is we were able to really use the fact that we were virtual and launch these hubs so that we could keep our families connected even while we're doing virtual schooling. So we have a Southside Hub, and our Southside Hub is supported by a hub coordinator. The goal of these hubs is that we are going to respond to our region's needs and those specific needs. We know that Ms. Jones and Ms. Page, they're very aware that the South Side has different needs than maybe the North Side or the West End. And we want to be able to address those strategically and help our families feel like they have those supports. So in addition to having a coordinator that's able to plan events and activities for families, make sure that they know about opportunities, we have 10 family liaisons, and half of those are bilingual because we know in the South Side that we have a lot of Latin American families, and we don't want language or cultural barriers to impact them being able to access school resources. And one of the things that we really like to do in our hubs, in addition to making sure everyone has information, so you know about events like tonight, because we are going to push it out on the ground. We are going to push it out through RPS Direct and the website and all of those different things that you have that tell you what's happening. We also work with attendance because we believe that attendance is an engagement issue. If kids aren't in school, then they aren't engaged. And so that's where it starts. Half the battle is you have to actually show up. And in a virtual world, we want to make sure that our kids know what that means because it's a little different. And so we work on the early end of that. So before our students are chronically absent, we have our family liaisons going out, at 4 and 5 days to say, what's going on? How can we help you? What can we give you? What resources or support to make sure that students are going to be in class and learning? So that's really just a snapshot of our community hub model. Our Office of Engagement also focuses on helping our families facing housing instability through our Center for Families in Transition. We also help our Welcome Center, which a lot of our Southside families are going to be using when we have English language learners that come in that need to be connected and assessed. That's where they're going to go. And also our community partnerships. So any organizations that want to plug in, whether it's a church or a nonprofit, we want to make sure that we can wrap our arms around all of our students and make sure that they're going to learn. So that is just a 5-minute spiel of what we've been doing, which is a lot. And we hope to do much more with all of your support. Community members, parents, it takes a village. And so we just want to ignite the village and help connect with us, connect with me. I'll put my email in the chat. Send me an email. We love ideas. We want to know what our families want and how we can better serve you.
And Dr. Brown, I just want to say you gave me a little bit too much credit because this community hub idea, I have to just shout out board member Jones, Nicole Jones, that I remember planning with you a year ago, thinking about how can we be more intentional about our community work and making sure those ideas came from the community. So you as a community member, really helped us brainstorm about what could a community hub model look like. And this idea came out of the ideas of actual community members, RPS teachers, administration. It was such a collective idea. So to be able to see all of that come to fruition this year, but more importantly, see the impact it's having on, even during a pandemic, being able to identify and keep our families engaged has been amazing. So thank you, Dr. Brown, for your leadership, Matthew Stanley and the whole office, but this is not an Office of Engagement, this is RPS. This is what RPS is doing as a division. We all have a responsibility to engage. And I just want to thank board member Page and board member Jones for not only believing in us, but really doing the work with us to make this come to life. So thank you again, and thank you for having us.
Thank you for that. And that is really the whole, when you simplify it, a community is as strong as its leaders, it's as strong as its families, it's as strong as its schools, as Cory mentioned earlier. And so we got some work to do, but we're here and we're ready to do it. And everyone working together, and Ms. Page said a very important thing, it's about collaboration.
Yes.
Because I came in as a school board member, and if I tried to take on all the issues in the 9th district by myself, it would be really hard. If she tried to take on all the districts in her district, if she tried to take on all the issues in her district in the 8th, it'd be really hard. So we recognize that collaboration, will better, together, and it makes more of a stronger, as she said, team. And so we're really excited about working together and really being able to just kind of learn from each other and continue to build. Cory.
Oh my God, like that's beautiful. I really want to just touch on something that Ms. Brown said. She said it takes a village. And I know that saying goes dated back, it goes a long way, but I want you to really understand it. A lot of people, they say it, but don't truly understand it. So I need everybody on the call to understand what that really means. To have a community, you need a village. Because the definition of a village is a group of people who work together to make sure that the village and everything in the village runs smoothly. That's what a village is. So when we say it takes a village to build something, we want to make sure we build a better and brighter community. So it takes a village. It takes you, everyone on this call. It takes everyone that you know. It takes everyone. So if you have people that you know that can help out with these ideas, help out with such support. You know, I saw in a comment that, you know, they said that the village is ignited. You know, we just need support. Now I saw that in the comments, and I agree as well. So if you know anybody that's willing to support, anybody that's really get down to the ground, they're willing to make these ideas come to fruition, please reach out to them and let them know the plan that we have for this community. It's time for us to uplift each other. It's time for us to get back to the community, get back in the community. And now I want to start hearing some thoughts from the community. So I'm gonna open it up to some questions. You know, anybody who has any questions for Ms. Nicole, Ms. Don Page, Ms. Brown, myself, anybody has any questions, I just want to open it up to everyone in the chat right now.
And I know we do not have any shy people.
Or if they want to come off mute, Cory, they can also
yes, you
come off mute.
Yes, you can also come off mute and ask your question as well.
Yeah, let's
all open up to the floor.
Let's connect. Let's see some faces.
I see someone's hand up. You gotta mute yourself.
So they raise their hand and then I can hit the ask to unmute. So Mary, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Good evening, everyone. I am a 29-year resident in the 9th district, and I am super excited about this community conversation and looking forward to many more going forward. I'm a parent of 4 children, 1 in Virginia State, 3 in Richmond Public Schools, and I am a Richmond Public Schools employee. I'd like to start off by thanking my 9th district representatives, Ms. Jones and Mr. Michael Jones, because both of them are very accessible and always there to try to help and answer questions. Tonight, I am here to listen because I have already sent out my feelings about some things that are coming down the pike with the school board, and the school board members probably got an email from me today. But
Yes,
I also would like to talk about some of the inequities that occur in the 8th and 9th district. I'm not going to say in Southside, because we got places in Southside that there are no inequities. But in the 8th and 9th district, there seem to be a lot. And at the school level, and when I mean by school level, from school building to school building, and also community. So again, you know, tonight I'm a try as hard as I can to be a listener. And I know Michael will probably say, Murray, you're never a listener, but I'm gonna try tonight to be a listener. But I do want to just kind of bring it up that there are inequities that that I get a chance to see that I truly don't like. And as a parent of a child who's in elementary school in Southside, there are things that just need to change. There's no other way of saying it. Cut and dry, that's who I am. There are things that need to change. So I am excited that Ms. Page and Ms. Jones and our councilperson, Michael Jones, have taken on this task of hearing from us, of knowing that there are people who want the best for our children in the 8th and 9th district. And I'm always say the 8th and 9th district because there are other places in Southside, just like I said, that don't have the issues we have in the 8th and 9th district. But it's time for a change, and the time is now. So as a resident, as a parent, and as an employee, I am here to support, and tonight I'm here to listen. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you so much.
It was well put.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Teresa has her hand raised, so I'm going to ask her to unmute right now.
Good evening, school board representatives. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for collaborating and working together to renew the superintendent's contract. It is greatly needed to have some stability for the next 4 years. And also with that, do you two ladies have a social media site or a newsletter? And how can we reach you after today? Thank you.
So I'm on social media. I'm not as active, but I can drop all my school board information in the chat, my email, phone number, and you can reach out to me anytime. As Ms. Gresham said, I'm very accessible and come to my house. No, I'm just kidding, but you can reach out to me anytime. So I'll drop it in the chat. I do have a social media. I'm on Facebook, but it may take me a day or two to respond if you reach out to me there. I kind of use that for sharing information. And Ms. Paige and I did talk about a newsletter, but we'll keep you posted on it.
Yes. So just to add to that, yes, I am on social media, but as Ms. Jones said, I'm not as active, but I am on social media. I have a social media page, but also I do send out newsletters. So, and normally I send them out periodically, but I'm trying to do it on a quarterly basis or as needed, because we want the community to stay informed and to raise awareness. Because if you're not informed, then how do you know the decisions that we are making? But again, yes, I do send out newsletters, and I will put my email address in the chat as well. But I encourage participation. I started my journey with school board through PTA. And we all know that PTA is a vehicle to advocate on behalf of the students. And I still carry that. I still carry that vision.
And
so I will put my email in the chat as well.
And if I can just add one thing, we also, which is the purpose of tonight, we want to hear from you. Let us know what's the best way to communicate with you, because something that we are being very cognizant and mindful of is we don't want to oversaturate you with information either. And we want to make sure that, the communication that we're putting out is aligned with the communication that you are receiving from RPS. So if there's a more simplified way that you prefer to be communicated, if the newsletter is it, I want to hear from you. Ms. Paige wants to hear from you, but also we just want to make sure that what we're sending aligns with what's coming from the administration, and so that we're not oversaturating or duplicating efforts with the same information. So just let us know.
Yes, and Ms. Jones has just made a valid point. What we do must be in line with the vision of the school division, because if we're not working in tandem, we're not on the same page, we're not going to get anywhere. So yes, whatever we do, say yes, is in alignment with the goals that we have established in our strategic plan. And like I said, that is our blueprint. That's our guiding principles. So.
Thank you. If everyone's all right with it, I'm gonna go on to another question. Davina's hand is raised, so I'm going to ask them to unmute right now.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, Ms. Jones. My name is Davina Simmons. I'm a teacher, RPS alumni, and I have 3 students who graduated through RPS, and I'm a Southside native, born and raised. My biggest concern right now, I kind of talked to Ms. Jones about it, but there are things going on in the Southside that some of the school board members are not aware of. And, we're looking for support, and we're looking for, to know that the school board is behind us on some of the things that we're doing. But it kind of seems like that the communication has broken down between us and those who are over us. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to open those doors up more, because like Miss Mary said, there are some inequities that have been here for years, and it has been overlooked, especially in the last few years. We've been overlooked several times for improvements that could have benefited our students as well as our staff. So, I'm one of those people that, want to hit the ground running. I want to help, but I just need to know where I can help it.
I was muted. I can ask Dr. Patricia Aldridge to unmute, and you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm having a little technical difficulty here. I was wondering, this button wasn't going to outsmart me. I've been in the virtual world for the last year. So good evening, everyone. I want to say that to Cory, you know, that village, I'm a part of that village. I'm an old Southsider. Been here forever. Left and came back. And I'm going to say to you, Mike Jones, you, Ralph Hodges, and my pastor, Kevin Cook, you all have hit the nail on the head, because the first thing you all did was to make sure that those underserved individuals in the South Side were able to have access to the vaccine. Thank you, Mr. Cameras. I feel privileged and thankful that I got in early to get that vaccine. Typically, South Side has been a community where things were tightly knit and bound together, but things have changed over the years. And Ms. Page, you know that then some of your campaigning outings, I would say, we had heard from a lot of people who were dissatisfied with the way things have turned and want to try to return back to that old style family community, where the community did take a vested interest in the schools. Mike Jones, you keep on. You keep working with Hodges and Cook, and we're going to get it back, because you still have some of us still hanging around who are products of Richmond Public School. Our children are products of Richmond Public School. Mm-hmm. And so we just need to have some, and once this pandemic lets up, and it is going to let up, and we can get back to some face-to-face activities, I'd like to have that old down home South Side community family reunion, and where we can represent, you know, our schools and have our families and get to know each other. We used to have carnivals on Saturdays at Broad Rock Elementary, but we got to know one another. We had the parents feeling more connected to the schools because we offered computer classes, reading classes for the parents who couldn't read, so that they would know what their students are doing so they could help out and just not feel inferior to educators, because there's nothing worse than having parents come to school sitting around a table full of educated folks and they not even know the acronyms, because in special ed we have so many acronyms. It is just almost impossible, and people they don't want to expose themselves. And so I just would like to see us get back to that old school way of doing things, where we had those villages that everybody put their hand in and helped to you know, rear these children and get them interested in going to college, and you know, having the grandmamas who are retired come in as a lunch monitor and sit with these children, because they really do have some other issues besides academics going on with them. And I just think that it can be done if we all just take an active part. So Ms. Page, I'm going to be calling on you and meeting with you and sharing some ideas with you from people that I hear from in the community. Okay. Okay, as well as the churches. I know we have to separate church and state, Mike Jones, but there comes a time we have to find another innovative way to do that, right? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that comment.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Aldridge. And it's important, you know, for these things to be said, you know, because this is how we connect. We can't connect. So you all are helping myself, Ms. Page, the administration, just connect with, we feel you, as opposed to we just hearing it. And so this is really helpful, and we're grateful and thankful for everyone that's sharing tonight.
That was the last of the raised hands and questions for now, so we're good.
Okay, well.
Mike Jones said he has a question.
If I can share, I'd appreciate that. First of all, let me say good evening to everybody. I legit have a question. I'm not just trying to take over this meeting or come into your space, but let me first say this to my friend Don Page, to Our namesake, don't mess with the Joneses. Don't come over on our neighborhood. We don't play over here. So, but I just want to congratulate and thank them for stepping up the lead. I'm not going to lie. I believe school board is just as, if not more challenging than city council. It just is, especially in times like these. It's difficult, and I recognize that. I get to hide behind votes. I get to collaborate and do different things to provide cover. Y'all have very little cover in what you do. And I recognize that as a politician. One, to Mr. Cameras, I'm glad you got another 4 years. I did not want to speak on that or share my views in an effort. I didn't want to taint the process. Ms. Cameras, I think the world of you. I've been in Richmond dealing with schools and school issues for a long time. And I think you've done a stellar job. And I don't know if anyone has a prescription or a handbook on how to handle a pandemic. Maybe if they have something back from 1918, you might have some information to share. But I just want to commend everyone for the job that y'all have done, and know that you guys are in my thoughts and prayers continuously. It does take a village. Separation of church and state, that's actually misconstrued. That was just so the United States would never institute the Church of England or the Church of America. And so outside of that, the church has always been influential in education. When the school system shut down in Farmville, they went to church school. And so even as a pastor, we are very involved in the education process of our students, and we reward that. We gave one a student a car just because she needed one and she was doing a great job in school, and adults complained too much about getting free cars. And so I said, hey, give it to this 16-year-old young lady. And so we are committed to seeing young people grow at the Village of Faith. I am on city council. I represent the 9th district. I'm glad and proud to do that. I am running for the 69th district of the House of Delegates. The 69th district, which is comprised majority of South Side, is 70% Black and brown. And it's never had a person of color to represent it. It's never had anyone from the South Side to represent it. And I believe right now, representation matters. It just does. I'm running because I want to get resources to our side of the river. It's abundantly clear that the passive leadership practices of the past cannot adequately address the challenges of the present. And my candidacy is going to represent that change. 2001 is when Henrico County got laptops. My niece and nephew were out there. 2013-14, Chesterfield got theirs. We got ours based on CARES Act funding and a pandemic. That is not how children should be treated in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We have to find a way to level the playing field, and I'm going to fight like that. I appreciate the person that said there are two South Sides. I'm knocking those two South Sides, and I was in another part of the South Side that's not part of the 8th or the 9th district. And this question came up, and I just wanted to ask this question tonight. With all the spending that has taken place, because we have fully funded schools, second year running now, and I'm glad for that. I introduced an amendment last year and said I would not entertain any other amendment that did not fully fund schools. And I'm there again now. With that funding that has taken place and the new schools that have been built, this person was referencing Huguenot High School. Why haven't test scores gone up? I know you guys have heard this. Why hasn't it impacted test scores? When can we expect those things? The guy said if I brought back the answer, whether he liked the answer or not, he'd vote for me. So I'm going to ask that question tonight. So I need one of the three of y'all, the four of y'all, to answer that. But real talk, people in different neighborhoods have that question. And I want to be able to address that. And I would really like for y'all to help inform my response to them. And so I will stop. Thank you again for allowing me to enter into your space.
Okay. Superintendent Cameras.
Thank you, Ms. Page. first, let me just say thank you to you in particular. You were chair when I was first hired, and I've always looked to you as my mentor. And I just appreciate everything that you've done and all the leadership that you've shown. Ms. Jones, thank you. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you and have you on the board. And Mr. Jones, likewise, so appreciate your leadership and all that you have done and continue to do. As for your question, I'm going to actually share my screen and show our projected graduation rates for this year. And I'm just going to go straight to the final slide here. All right, so let's talk about schools on the south side. George Wythe, we're projecting an 18.8% increase in the graduation rate this year. Still too low, but that is a massive increase. Huguenot, we're seeing projecting an 18.1% increase in graduation this year. These are projections, so obviously we're not at the end of the year yet, but these are huge increases during a pandemic. So the investments that City Council has been making, that the school board have been making, they are beginning to pay off. It's not just on the south side. Armstrong up 7.5 points, JM up 1.5 points, and as a division, we're projected to be up over 13 percentage points, going from 71 last year to 85 this year, again, in the middle of a pandemic. If you look at it by student subgroup, again, across the board, our Black and African American students up 6 points, Hispanic and Latino students up 21 points, white students up 5.5, economically disadvantaged up 4.5, students with disabilities up 8%, English learners up 15.5%. So this is a credit to everyone who's been involved. First and foremost, our students and their families, but they're incredible teachers, principals, counselors, the community hubs, everybody who's been working so very hard to get dropouts back, prevent kids from dropping out in the first place, and get across the finish line. So bottom line, Mr. Jones, the return on investment you're beginning to see, and it's going to take time. It's going to take many more years to get to where we want to be. But I do want the community to know all of these investments that I know have been hard to make are beginning to pay off. And we're incredibly grateful to you, to the council, to the school board, to the mayor, and to the state for the investments they've made as well.
Thank you, Superintendent Cameron, for sharing that. That is good news because we know where we've come from. So we are starting to see a turnaround. We're not going backwards, we're going forward. So thank you for sharing that information. But also I want to piggyback off of something that Councilman Jones said about school board. We tend to be, I guess, the least discussed, or we don't get as much publicity, but we get publicity when it's something negative. So I want to say that. But school board, the work that we do, it is the most important work, because we all know, just as it takes a village to raise a child, education is at the foundation of everything. If our community is not educated, then it has an impact on economic development. It has an impact on crime, employment. Education is at the core of every single thing, and education should be the most important thing. So I just wanted to make that point as well. And thank you, Councilman Jones, for sharing your feedback. And for us to stay on time in our time frame, Cory.
Yeah, so we just want to acknowledge that we do have 4 hands raised. Miss Mary Gresham, Davina.
Oh, sorry about that.
But what we'll do is we want to move on to Mr. Cameron's presentation, and right after we have room for questions.
Yes.
So Mary, Davina, Francis, Rosalind, Miss Kelly, Toby. I think I saw one more, but you will be first at the top of the next questions after Mr. Cameron's. And thank you for your patience, and we appreciate it. All right, Cory.
Okay, I wasn't gonna stop. I was gonna let y'all keep going with the questions because I loved where the conversation was going. I love seeing how the community was coming together, asking questions, getting solutions. You know, it's nothing about talking about problems. I really hate talking about problems all the time without talking about solutions. So I love the fact that we had just an open discussion right now where we were addressing problems and also providing solutions to the problem. So I was gonna let it keep going. I was gonna have this call go all the way to 10 o'clock, let the conversation keep going, but you know, we had to stop shortly, of course. So we had to get
do it. You
cameras.
leading this tonight, so you check in with your superintendent, ask him how he feel about it.
That's right.
What he's saying. I mean, we you know, well, how y'all want to do it? What you think, Mr. Cameron?
Look, we all work for Cory, so whatever he wants, I'm good.
But speaking of Mr. Jason Cameron, say it again.
What do you want to do?
Right now, I do want to let him get a chance to do his presentation, so we have more time to resonate some more questions. So I do want to open the floor up to his presentation, so we can ask more questions, so people can start thinking about their questions more, formulate their questions more. So when we have at the end of his presentation, we have that real big open time for the questions. We have a whole bunch of questions we can just sit there, answer, you know, break apart, break down, you know. So I really feel like, you know, let him get through his presentation so we can have more time for more questions. So yeah, that's how I'm thinking.
You want to do your intro?
Yeah. But back to Mr. Jason Cameron's. I don't believe they gave you a good enough introduction, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you my introduction. So I'm gonna go ahead and present to you the esteemed, the great. Now let me stop. I'm gonna go ahead and present to you Mr. Jason Cameron. You know, this is also one of my friends, of course. It's kind of weird calling an adult your friend, but yeah, this is one of my friends. You know, for my last 4 years of attending Georgia High School, I have always seen him. Like, he was just always just there in my school, always there at all of my events, always there at everything. He was just right there. So it became hard for me not to become his friend, you know. He also took me on his wing with the Superintendent Advisory Council, you know, just sitting there speaking with the other kids that he had came to the school, brought down in the room to basically speak about more school issues and speak about how he himself and his team can make the schools a better world. So I really like, he became like one of my best friends, one of the people that I idolize and look up to as well, because his leadership skills are just outstanding, you know. And when anytime anybody speak about him, the first thing I ask them is, do you respect him as a leader? Because his leadership skills are just tremendous, you know. It's just remarkable. The words can't really explain it and describe it sometimes, because he's just always there. You know, make sure he put the kids first. The school board puts the kids first. You know, we have a huge team. RPS, the 8th and 9th, we have a huge team that just really puts kids first. And I just truly love it. So that's my introduction. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let Mr. Jason Cameron speak to y'all.
I'm a little speechless after that, Cory. I'm very proud and honored to call you my friend as well. If anyone on the call doesn't know Cory, you're missing out on life, because he's a very special young man who is destined to all kinds of great things in life. I'm very excited. Are you committed to Morehouse? Is that the plan now?
Yes. Right now I am committed to Morehouse, you know. Yay. Right. Finally got my #1 school. So yes, I am committed to Morehouse. Right now I'm in the process of, you know, getting enough funds to attend the school and getting scholarships to fill all right now. That's where I'm at right now. But yes, I have committed to Morehouse.
All right. I know you're working on the funding. We're going to help you with that and make sure that you are able to go and be successful. Yes. And lots of people have written in, Cory, for president. Just tell me where to sign, Cory. I'm glad to be your campaign manager. Truly, you are an inspiration. And Cory would be the first one to tell you that he represents a whole lot of other students just like him all across the division, but certainly at WITH and at other schools. And we couldn't be prouder of you. You truly are an example of what RPS is all about. So thank you so much, Cory. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll be president one day. I got to do my TED Talks first, then president.
All right. Let me know. I'll be whatever you need me to do. I'm there. Well, thank you so much, Cory, and thank you everyone for being here tonight on this beautiful spring-like evening. Really, really appreciate it. Looks like we have almost 60 people on, which is fantastic. I just want to say a few words about the proposed calendar for next year. I know some folks have already attended some of our other town halls this week. As a reminder, we do have a Southside Town Hall on Sunday at 2 p.m. and you can register online at our website, rvaschools.net. But Miss Page and Miss Jones are so on top of the game. They beat everyone else to all the town halls and had this one set up before all the others were established. So I just want to give them a big shout out for leading on the engagement front. On the calendar, I'll try to be relatively brief. Just a little bit of history, a little bit of context. Last year, 2020, I know that feels like forever ago, but it was just a few months ago. The school board voted to actually instruct the administration to come up with a year-round calendar. That's something the school board has been talking about for quite some time. A lot of energy around it for its educational opportunities for kids, also for its compensation opportunities for teachers. And so I got to work with the team and we put together a first proposal a few months ago, shared that with the school board, and then we got lots of really good feedback and then created the next proposal, which is the one that we've been discussing as of late. So that was sort of the first reason to go down the year-round path. And the second reason really is COVID. We know that despite the incredible efforts of our teachers and our principals and counselors and custodians and everybody, there's likely going to be some learning loss this year. We want to make sure we do everything we possibly can to support our young people going into next year and beyond. So that's the second reason for considering a year-round calendar. And really, at its core, this calendar is built on the idea of equity. And that is a word that we use a lot in education. And I think it has almost lost any meaning because it's been said so many times. So I like to just make it very simple for myself. For me, equity is about the kids who need the most, making sure they get the most. And that's really what we're trying to do with this calendar. And I'm going to go through the details here and share my screen to show you how that actually plays out. Before I do that, I want to acknowledge, I know there are strong feelings about this. I respect and completely understand people's perspectives, whether you're supportive or not supportive. Totally get that. I believe everybody in the RPS village wants the very best for our kids. Sometimes we disagree about how to get there, but that's okay. I think that's a sign of a healthy community when we can debate and sometimes disagree. I think it's in the tension, in the back and forth, that we come up with the best ideas and ultimately do the best things for our kids. All right, so I'm going to share my screen now. This is the proposed calendar. Just to orient everybody, this July here is July of 2021, so this coming summer. I know there's a lot of colors here, so let me just try to explain them to make this clear for everybody. First, you'll see a lot of yellow days. The yellow days are just regular school days, and you'll see the first yellow day is on August 17th. You'll see it's in red. That would be the official first day of school for everybody in RPS next year under this calendar, August 17th. You'll see there's a whole bunch of yellow days all the way through the year. And then at the end of June, you see June 24th in red. That would be the official last day of the school year. And if you count up all the yellow days, you get 180 days, which is the normal length of a school year. So it's a normal number of days spread out over a longer period of time. And that gives us the opportunity to do some special things, which I'll talk about in 1 second. So again, the first day of school for everybody officially would be August 17th, and the last day would be June 24th. All right, you'll see some red days. These are holidays or breaks, times when school would be closed. You see here in December, this would be winter break. You see in April, spring break. There's also other holidays. We've built in some more religious holidays. We talked about that earlier, about the importance of faith. And so we wanted to make sure we were representing a lot of different faiths in this calendar. And so we have, for example, Eid al-Fitr, which is an important holiday in the Muslim faith. Easter Monday would be off, other holidays such as that. All right, so that's the yellow and the red. Then you'll see some green days. You see here July 14th and 15th. You'll also see August 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Those are teacher professional development days, days when teachers have training on curriculum and classroom management and IEPs and things of that nature. And then you'll see some purple days. Those are teacher work days, time for teachers to do what they need to do. No meetings, just grading or planning or preparing their room, whatever they need to do to be ready for the coming semester. And then there are some gray days. You'll see one right here in October, October 22nd, and one down here in March, March 18th. Those are parent conference days. All right, so that leaves the blue days. And the blue days are really what this calendar is all about. The blue days, you'll see here in July and August, we have 3 weeks of blue days. Then you'll see in November, 2 weeks, and in March, 2 weeks. Those are the extra days, extra learning days that are in this calendar. They are optional days, so they're not required for students or for staff. But we would strongly encourage them for young people who needed extra support. And we would be focused on about 5,000 students, which is almost a quarter of RPS. And the goal would be to help ensure that these young people catch up, get the extra support that they need, and then stay caught up and even accelerate during the year. So you'll see the first bunch of blue days here in July and August. Those 3 weeks we are calling Jump Start. It's pretty simple. It's a jump start to the year. So those 5,000 young people would come in late July and August, where they would get small group support. We're talking no more than 8 students in a group. At the elementary and middle school level, we would focus primarily on reading skills, but we would do other things as well, including enrichment activities to make it feel like a camp kind of experience. And at the high school level, we would focus on courses that students need for graduation. We want to make sure that kids start the year on a really good level for their graduation courses. So that would be Jumpstart. Then in November, we have 2 weeks right before Thanksgiving. We're calling those days a Fall Boost. Again, the idea would be same kind of thing, small group, intensive focus for elementary and middle, really focused on reading plus other enrichments. And at the high school level, focused on core classes for graduation. And then you'll see in March, another 2 weeks, which we're calling Spring Boost. Again, focused on that same set of students to help them stay on track and accelerate even further. So all told, it's about 7 weeks of extra instruction. Again, completely voluntary. If a family didn't want their student to participate, that would be fine. For any families who are not participating, those days would be off. And we recognize that for families with working parents, which is just about everybody, having those off days, particularly in November and March, creates a childcare burden. That's why we are working with the city, Parks and Rec, all kinds of camp and after school providers like Peter Paul Development Center, YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, and others to provide low cost or free childcare or camp options during these off days if students in a particular family are not participating in the extra learning days. So that's the student side. On the teacher side, these blue days are also optional. If a teacher did want to work those days, we would pay at a much higher rate than we normally pay for extra work. Normally, we pay about $22 an hour. For these days, we would pay $40 an hour. And that means if a teacher were to work all the blue days, it would mean about $10,000 more over the course of the year. We recognize teachers may not want to work all of the blue days, so maybe just the Jump Start or maybe the Fall Boost or Spring Boost, and that would be okay. And we've seen from our surveys so far that about a third of our teachers would be interested in working these extra days, which is actually more than we would need for the 5,000 students that we're talking about. So again, completely optional. And if a teacher didn't want to work those days, that's okay. Those would then be vacation days. Those would be off days. And we know from research, including research here in Virginia by the General Assembly's JLAR committee, that having these kinds of breaks in the middle of the year can be really helpful for teachers in terms of lowering stress, giving more time to prepare, or more time with family, or time to do whatever they need to do to be well and continue on throughout the rest of the year, which is a nice difference from the way the year is now, which is just, it kind of keeps going. So again, completely optional. I do want to note the term year-round is not a great one, because it kind of makes people think you're going to school every single day, but you're not. Even under this calendar, if students participated in the extra days, these blue days, they'd still have a 4-week, 5-week summer. And if they didn't participate in these days, they'd have an 8-week summer. So there's still a very significant summer here. And I know that's critical for kids and for staff, for everybody to unwind and kind of recharge for next year after this very challenging year. So I'm going to stop there. That's kind of the high level summary. I'm glad to take any questions or do whatever Cory says we are to do, as he is clearly in charge.
Thank you. But I do want to open this up to questions. So I know we had some people lined up already. I know we had some extra hands too. This is the time now to ask your questions.
We can start with Francis Scott, and if Casey wants to unmute her.
Good evening, everyone. How you doing? I am a great grandmother of a student in Richmond Public Schools. I'm a product of Richmond Public Schools, so are my kids and some of my grandkids. So, and listening to, I was going to be like Miss Mary. I was going to listen to just tonight before I said anything, but different things have been said. And with Mr. Jones, Mike Jones, the way that I feel when it comes to the school board, you and Ms. Jones work together, which is great, but you are in the 9th district. In the 8th district, Dawn is working by herself. There is no counterpart to help her with the schools, none whatsoever. The way that I feel, Richmond City Council, our number one priority should be Richmond Public Schools. You work together. If you have your schools in order, everything else that the city needs will fall in order. Our kids right now do feel a disproportion, because I'm pretty sure they can see what other school districts have that falls up under Richmond Public Schools that they don't have over here. And it hurts my heart to see this. I think Ms. Mary was saying that we should be pushing our kids to college, to graduate and go to college. I agree with that, but everyone is not made to go to college. We have technical programs out here that our kids can go to for like 2 years, or the mechanic, plumbers, or whatever, and come out and making $50,000 to $6,000 a year. So college is not for everyone. So that's a look that we need to look at. When I was in school, we had 3 curriculums: college preparatory, general, and business. General was your technical, or mechanic, and so forth, and it depends on which school. I'm a graduate of Maggie Walker. So Maggie Walker had different technical programs. Armstrong had the medical, had other mechanics and different programs. So it was even Stevens. So we can think, like she said, go back to the old days or whatever we can do for our kids to bring them up. But I do appreciate, Superintendent, what you have done. I'm not saying superintendent to go come out of the 4 walls to go into the community for what you have done. And I appreciate you for that. I was glad that they did hire you for another 4 years, because I have never I was born and raised in the city of Richmond. Never seen a superintendent do what you have done. So that's all I have to say for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Francis.
Yeah.
Next is Roslyn Gibson.
Okay.
Wait, Miss Nicole. But before we jump to the next question, I did want to address what she just said real quick.
Okay.
And I did want to say, I know it's kind of like not my place to answer the question, but I kind of do want to answer it and speak on it too. So I totally agree with you. In RPS, it should be our main focus, including pre-K and including all the other outsourced programs we have too. And yes, Miss Don Page is, working by herself. However, she is collaborating with, Miss Nicole Jones, Mr. Jones. That's why we're building this collaboration right now, so we can all help each other. So she can get that balance, she can get that support that she needs if she does need to reach out. And also, and while saying that as well, outsourcing is a huge tool that RPS is starting to utilize now as well. Because starting up new programs, starting up new this is harder to start new rather than to outsource and bring in. So when you're speaking about, we have the tech center. The tech center does open up students to, like carpentry and to things like that as well. And I know that me personally, I was in a tech center to help me, understand, entrepreneurship, understand carpenting, and I understand that college isn't for everyone. I totally agree. I tell kids all the time, college isn't for everyone. So I understand exactly where you're coming from, but I do want to say that outsourcing is the big thing that RPS is working on now, to put kids in the limelight of going to the tech center to find different career paths, or going to this community program, going to this coding resource. There's a coding resource that George Riff showed me that was at VCU that was also came from the school board, and so that was on their ideas, had this little coding exercise at VCU to teach us how to code. Programs and outsourcing are one of the big things that I do see RPS is working on. So I totally agree with you, and I do hope that kind of clarifies some more things from a student perspective of how what I see from on RPS and from just like Jason Campbell and the school board's perspective. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Cory. So Ms. Roslyn Gibson is next. Questions?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Good. Good evening, everyone. And I would like to thank Don Page and school board member Ms. Jones, Superintendent Cameras, and Mike Jones for being involved in this meeting tonight. I am a parent of a Richmond City public school student. My daughter is a graduating senior. And I want to commend the school board, and I want to commend Jason Cameras and you, Mike Jones, on the city council for an outstanding job during this COVID environment. I know it's been challenging for everyone, and I think Richmond has really shined during this COVID pandemic. And if it took the pandemic to get those laptops, then that's a positive. That's a bright light, and I'm glad they have them. I'm sorry that it had to take COVID for them to get them, but it was a dream come true for me. So I'm thankful for that. But my concern is I have a 12th grader, a graduating senior, living with me, and she's attending school, of course, virtually. And I know this is all new for the school system, but the 12th graders, the seniors, this was their year. They weren't able to do all the things that seniors do to celebrate and to experience during their senior year. And they are feeling, well, they're making all of the adjustments. They're, and it's a lot. So, but I would like to see if there's anything that can be done to help the seniors celebrate their senior year in this virtual environment? Can more attention be given to them uh, so that they are recognized for their senior year? They've gone almost a whole year, and none of the activities that normally go on at school for seniors, they weren't able to participate. I don't know if, and the young man that's on the call tonight, I don't know how things are at his school, but my daughter does, I have to admit, she does attend school outside of the 8th district, which we live. She goes to Richmond Community High School. But I feel, and I hear it from her, they've handled this COVID situation very well, I think. And I just wish there could be more um, creative ideas or things for them to participate in to make it feel a little bit like they're recognized. Because in a couple of months, they'll be graduating, and that's it. I mean, they're planning for a graduation, but they've missed out on all of the fanfare and activities that normally seniors experience during their senior year. And it's like they're being neglected, they're being overlooked. So that's pretty much my question. And I would like to also say I have a Mike Jones sign in my front yard, and I'm looking forward to Delegate Jones representing us in the State House.
Thank you, Ms. Gibson.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ms. Page.
No, I'm just saying yes. Thank you.
I think who'd you say we had up next is Tracy.
Tracy Howard.
Well, we had two more people before her. Kelly Tobe wanted to say something. So Kelly, you can unmute now.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm the principal at Summerhill Preschool, and I just wanted to acknowledge that we've got a lot of preschool parents on the line, and a lot of preschool educators are with us tonight. So Mr. Jones had asked about the high school graduation rates. You know, school starts with preschool, and we have such wonderful folks who are making that happen. And I just wanted to thank our board members for always supporting us. I'm a new principal, but there has been so much this year with our building. We have an older building, and every day there are people that are making it a great place to learn. And so it's very exciting, and I'm just very grateful. And it's great to see all of the energy that's surrounding RPS on the South Side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paige, Casey is going to call the.
Yeah, she's keeping track.
Yep.
Thank you. Davina, I have you next, so you can unmute now.
Okay. I kind of have, mine's is kind of like a two-part question. So from a teacher's perspective, I was wondering, Mr. Cameras, how that would work as far as with the year-round with us, with our pacing guide. So if there are extra weeks built in, are those weeks a totally separate program, or are they included in the regular curriculum that we're teaching, so that way kids wouldn't fall behind? And then my second question is, a lot of my parents and a lot of my colleagues were wondering when the next schools on Southside will be, replaced. Like my building is ancient. My grandmother went there. My mother attended, and then I attended. So the building that I work in has been there for years. And just from a health perspective, I'm a little worried about going in, not even worrying about COVID, just my health per se. This has been my first healthy year in 18 years. So I'm just wondering where we fall in, line in that area, if I'm not overstepping myself. I'm sorry.
No need to apologize at all. If I had a magic wand, I think the first thing I would do is replace about 40 of our buildings, and many of them on the south side. I am thrilled to say that the next building on the list to be rebuilt is George Wythe High School. So we're very excited about that, and we actually think the city has a plan to be able to pay for it. And if we move fast, we could have a new Wythe open its doors for students in the fall of 2024. So that is a incredibly exciting next step. There's a lot that needs to happen to make that occur, but that would be next. And then really what we need to do, and this is on the agenda for the next year with the school board, is to update our facilities plan. Coming out of the rezoning process last year, we got a lot of great feedback from the community around, what has to happen next, including rebuilding many of the schools on the south side, and potentially adding another elementary or 2 elementaries on the south side, given the expansion. So that's really the next big work that we have to do, is to lay out that plan for the next 10, 15, 20 years, so that every single school community can see themselves and where they fall in the in the schedule for a renovation or a complete rebuilding of the school. And then your first question, was about the intercessions. Really, those would be opportunities to shore up key skills that students needed, and if there were particular things in the curriculum that they needed support with, that as well. But it would not be like those weeks wouldn't be included in the pacing chart, so that people don't get off track. So if you weren't in those weeks, it's not like you would fall behind. It's really just an opportunity for the kids who are in those weeks to catch up and maybe even accelerate. So that's really how that would work.
Okay, next.
Can I add? I'm sorry.
Can
I add to that question about when we'll see the next schools? This is just years and years of neglect, and because we have not received the appropriate funding in our CIP budget, also it has to do with debt capacity. And school board, we don't have the ability to raise funds. And when you look at the city of Richmond, we're landlocked, and the funding stream, we really don't have a new source of revenue. So projects like Navy Hill, and I'm not saying one way or the other, but projects like that would have possibly developed a different stream of revenue to help us to continue to build new schools. And so this is the work that the community, we have to get involved in, because a lot of times when projects come to the city, we'll shoot it down before it gets out the gate. But in something, something that Cory said, when projects such as that, or it could be anything, we can't complain. We have to be about, be solution oriented. So if you have an issue with something, bring the concerns to the table, but also you bring your concerns and be about the solution. So that's the reality of our school buildings. So thank you. You can continue, Casey. I'm sorry.
You're fine. So next we had Mary Gresham. You can unmute now.
Okay, so I know I promised y'all that I was going to listen. I cannot help myself. I'm sorry. So a couple of comments. First of all, to I think it was a grandparent talking about CTE. I am Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm a former CTE teacher, so I feel you on that. Now every child is going to college. I had a child who went through last year, ending the school year without all of the celebrations. We cried many, many tears as a parent. The week before we shut down for COVID last year, I had bought my daughter's prom gown. It is hanging in the closet right now with a tag on it. So I really do understand that parent who said, you know, what are we going to do for our kids? I have a senior this year, and we've purchased senior items and things like that. But next week, just next week, they're now taking their senior pictures. So I can relate on that field. To Cory, I know you was in Miss Harris's class at the Tech Center, but a shout out for entrepreneurship because I was an entrepreneurship teacher as well. And one more comment, then I'm gonna get to my question. Facilities. So I currently am part of the facilities team for RPS. And I'm gonna tell you, I honestly take it very personal when people make comments about what's not happening. Let me say this on behalf of my team members and colleagues at facilities. We are working our butts off. Okay, I'm sorry. And believe me, when you walk back in your schools, you're going to see a difference. I promise you that. And if you don't contact me, I'll find out why. Now, here are my two questions. As far as the budget goes, because I've been kind of like watching those talks or whatever, when is the final budget submitted for like when is the final budget finished and submitted? School board budget.
Mrs. Page, would you like me to take that?
Sure.
First of all, Mrs. Gresham, I know you are working 24/7, so I do think folks are going to be really, really pleased when they come back. So the school board has approved the budget. It goes to the city. It will come back to us in the probably May timeframe. And then towards the end of May, the school board will adopt the final budget.
Okay. And then the second part of my question is for the new calendar proposal, is there something that's going to indicate whether or not, okay, let's say the jump start so the first part in July. If we don't get 5,000 students to respond, will there be something in place to say, okay, we need to go back to the drawing table, or will it be opened up for anybody to go, or how will that work?
We would offer it to an initial group of say 5,000, and if say half of them opted in, we would then offer to more students until we filled up all 5,000 seats.
Okay, because I wasn't really clear on that. All right, I'm done for the night. I promise you I'm listening for the rest of the night. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
So we have, for the sake of time, we have 2 questions left that we want to get to before we close out. But myself and Ms. Page just wanted to give some closing remarks, and Cory, wherever he went hiding. But I wanted to shout out because a few things as I've been listening and a few things that I've heard as a new board member is, you know, we're left behind on the South Side. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't get input from the South Side. You know, we do surveys, we don't hear from the families. And on this call tonight is 60 people. Mm-hmm. And there's, you know, want to shout out Bouchard, Broad Rock, JL Francis, Reed, River City. Those are the highest registered schools on this call. And so we are showing up, and we're going to change that narrative, and we have to be proactive so that folks aren't continuing to say what we're not doing. So we appreciate you coming out. We really are grateful. And like I said, to the superintendent, his team for supporting us. But today, we are here and we're showing up. So I just wanted to thank everyone. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for sticking this out with us. we were talking about possibly building some sort of parent teacher advisory where we meet monthly and be able to just share and brainstorm and collaborate and create and do all of those things. And we need every one of you on this call.
Yes.
So we will continue to reach out. We're going to continue to support and listen and respond. We're not going to react. We're going to respond. And
Yes.
I'll pass it over to my colleague, and then we'll take those last two questions because we want to be respectful of Mr. Cameron's time. Thank you.
Yes. And I just would like to echo what my colleague just said. I am just so thrilled to have so many people on this call. It is just truly, it just really has shown us that you are listening and you're paying attention. But we know that, but we want the voices to be heard all the time because you have so much value as a parent, as a staff member. We appreciate everything that you all do. And for taking time out this evening, sharing your thoughts and your feedback, and it will not go in one ear and come out the other. Because this meeting is the first of many.
Yes.
But as a community, the schools are a part of your community. So, and we have to make a difference. And we will make a difference. So again, we want to hear the other two questions and also to be considerate of the administration's time. And I just want to thank the administration, Superintendent Cameras, for supporting us tonight, because he always hear me say, look, Southside, wait a minute. That's not going to happen that way. So, but again, I just want to thank you all for your support. Greatly appreciated.
We
So
also
we
have the RPA president in the house, Miss Katina Harris. I haven't met you yet, but shout out.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Miss Teresa Slayton is next, and then I think Casey has the last person.
Yes. Well, so Tracy Howard is first, so we're gonna unmute Tracy.
Good afternoon, Tracy Howard. I live in the 9th and I teach in the 9th, and I have two, I guess, personal, well, selfish questions for Mr. Cameras. The first question is, I understand your year-round calendar, and I guess I want to say myself and 9 other colleagues planned a girls' trip vacation last year, and of course, you know, because of COVID, everything shut down, and we had to reschedule for this year. Our actual vacation this year is from the 9th to the 16th. Again, it includes myself and 7 other teachers and 2 school nurses. And I want to know, how do you plan to handle not just, I guess, my situation, but I'm pretty sure there are other teachers, administrators, staffs, or whomever who have vacations that are coming up in August. What is the plan for that? And then my second issue is, I really would like the grace that you spoke on at the beginning of all of this, not speaking in reference to my principal, the Dr. Sherry Warden Curry, who is an excellent principal. However, my daughter is also a teacher, and she has actually gone through 2 retainers due to stress, that at $250 each from stress. So those are my 2 concerns, and I'd like to know how you would address, well, not really the retainer thing, but the vacation time and teachers' absence with the year-round school. Hello?
Yes, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay.
Is your trip, which sounds great, what were the dates again?
the 9th through the 16th.
Of August?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
includes 10 people, 10 of your employees.
Yes. Look, I wish I could come up with some clever answer here. The truth is, if this calendar were adopted, you'd probably have to reschedule it to a little bit earlier in the summer, or to one of those sessions when we have off days in November and March, and maybe on the off season it would be even cheaper. But I recognize this is a downside to this schedule. I certainly understand that, and it is one of the disadvantages. So I do apologize for that.
Okay, but that is.
I think you went back on mute.
I was just saying that is definitely something to think about, because I've talked to other colleagues in my building and they as well have things planned in August. So I mean, it's going to be a big issue, and I don't really think that a lot of people can just say, okay, I'm going to reschedule for July, especially when things were rescheduled last year. So just think about all of the people now trying to reschedule for July. That's, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody's going to the same place, but it's going to be a mess, and monies will be lost. And as you know, we don't make a lot of money as it is. So we're losing money, or some of us will, unfortunately.
Yes, thank you for that feedback.
Okay, I think we can, there is one more, Teresa Slayton. So you can unmute now.
Regarding the proposed new calendar, is this a one-time offering for 21-22, or do we see this continuing? And then I had a comment about the open enrollment piece. It sounds like a lot of Southside parents may not use this, but that sibling option, I don't know if that's taken in consideration on the high school level. I understand wanting siblings, elementary and perhaps even middle, but to see some of the comments I saw on social media and families having 2 and 3 children who all got into our magnet specialty schools, how fortunate could one family be to have 2 and 3 students that could all add to the school culture of the specialty schools, whereas other students, perhaps in Southside, may not take advantage of these options, may not utilize the options. And I would really like to see the numbers, if they're available, on the entering classes, those freshman classes, if it's a good mix of students from around the district. So the first one is the calendar. Is it a one-time? And then the open enrollment on the high school level. Thank you.
On the open enrollment, I would have to, I don't know the specifics of, how many families had multiple children get in, but that's certainly, once we're done and with the acceptances and everything, we can share all of that data. We'll do a report with the school board. And then on your first question, I hope this kind of a calendar we adopt for a number of years. I think the response to COVID is going to take some time. I also think this kind of a calendar over the long run can be really helpful, not just to kids, but to families and to teachers in terms of making additional money. So, I also think this is a very unique time in that we're going to have more federal money to be able to pay for a calendar like this for a few years. So that makes it a really special opportunity that really is probably, very unique, perhaps once in a generation.
Okay, Thank you all so much. We will turn it over to Cory for president. Just want to remind everyone to register for Sunday's community town hall, where the superintendent and his administration will get a little more in-depth about the calendar. And so come prepared with questions. You learned a little bit about it tonight, but come with questions that you have, because that meeting will solely be focused on that. And Cory, take it away.
And just let me add before Cory speaks, please spread the word. I know there are so many parents that live side by side. Please spread the word, because the more information you have, you'll be able to make informed decisions, and you can provide the school board feedback. We will vote on Monday, but it's still opportunity to provide us feedback, and we want to hear from you all. So please spread the word. Cory, you it.
Thank you. I know everybody has heard thank you about 17 times this phone call, but I still want to say 1,000 more times. Thank you all for being on this call today. Thank you for contributing to this call. Thank you for just listening. Having your ears is very crucial, because you're going to take your ears and take your voice later on and spread the word, like Ms. Don Page just said. So I do want to say thank you for everyone for joining the call. Thank you all for speaking your mind. Thank you, because this is what a real community conversation looks like. Having everyone be able to speak their mind, everyone be able to contribute and listen, and just hear all the great ideas. And I do want to say thank you for everyone who has brought up the problems and issues concerning the 8th and 9th district. And I do want to say thank you for everyone who has provided solutions, who has given us solutions. I think I want to say thank you for everyone who's just listening. So I do want to say thank you. This is the first conversation, to plenty more to come. So please stay tuned. Please stay up to date. Email them. I know Ms. Jones, she's always, Ms. Nicole, she's always willing to just speak to y'all. Ms. Don Page is always willing. Jason Cameron is always willing to have y'all email them and speak to them. Please stay tuned. They will let you know when the next call will be there. And I know that I'm going to be on the call listening and hearing what I have to say. So I need y'all to be on the call as well. And invite 10 more people the next time the call comes too, so we can hear more voices, more ideas the next time this call comes. So thank you all for being here tonight. And I just want to wish you all have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cory. Thank you to everyone for joining us tonight.
You got something, Mike? You on mute? You got Casey? Can you unmute, Mr. Mike?
I just unmuted myself. There we go. I think I am. Hopefully I am. There we go. I just wanted to say that young man is awesome. I'm sorry. I just wanted to stop everything. That young brother. My wife was in the back. She's like, "Is that Cory?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's Cory." Cory, a young man, do the dang thing. I'm proud of you, man. You better go to Morehouse and show out. Hey,
of course.
If you need something, drop me your Cash App, man.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. Hey, I got your back, young man. I do.
We'll make it happen.
Right here.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Product of RPS.
That's right.
Go ahead on.
Our future is bright.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Yes, thank you. Be safe.